We actually want you to fix these issues, not talk about it, not tell us all the reasons why you can't do it. We want you to fix it. And what we're seeing now is the emergence of a DA that's now got its back against the wall.
Please go check out rebelstoreZA.com. Their winter range is now available. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Moments. Real Moments are clips from videos or interviews that I think you might find interesting. I know some of you may not have the time to watch the full hour-long video or interview, so I thought these Real Moments can also double up as a bit of a teaser, if you will. And who knows, maybe if you enjoy this clip, you might want to watch the full video. Links to the full video or interview are always in the description below. Also, if you want to donate to the show, there's a link in the description for you to do just that. You can now contribute to the show for as little as 40 Rand a month via debit order. Also, there are now some exclusive perks if you're a member. T's and C's apply. This is only available through Quicket. Or you can visit my website for various options on how to contribute to the show. Donations are not a must, but they're greatly appreciated and go a long way to supporting the channel. And of course, subscribing is always free. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, here is your real moment.
Similar act. And if people want to understand how that is changing, Times Live, that video that we talked about that was released, it was a very good video. It was 8 minutes long. They interviewed Alan Winde, they interviewed us, they interviewed Cape Exit, they interviewed Pierre de Force, they interviewed the Cape Coloured Congress, they interviewed a whole load of people in there. Now, what's absolutely fascinating is in your show, Helen is there saying, we support referendums. Then 2 weeks later, Alan Winde's in a video saying, referendums, why on earth do we need referendums? That actually we should be, we should sort this out at the polls. And then 10 days after Alan Winde's saying, we don't really support referendum, his own party has announced it's going to fix the Referendums Act. So, you have to start to look at this and say, well, hang on a second, there are shenanigans going on in the DA and everybody's not singing off the same hymn sheet, but we're moving towards referendums. And Alan Winde, the person who's supposed to call the referendum, clearly isn't quite on the same page as the rest of his party, but he's clearly going to get there. And actually, I also heard Alan moaning that he was being begrudgingly that he didn't like being blackmailed into independence and referendums, which is quite a fascinating thing for a guy who's the premier of the province and the majority of his own supporters want Cape independence. So, but I mean, that's what political pressure is all about. You've got the premier who doesn't want Alan Winde. Nobody in the DA seems to want independence less than Alan Winde. He's vehemently opposed to this. But actually, it's not about Alan Winde. The ship is moving. That super tanker of political opinion is turning in the Western Cape, and it's turning heavily in the direction of independence, if not its independence outright. So that's that gives a bit of a snapshot. And I'm sorry, I've talked for long now. And if you want to jump in, please do. Yeah. But I said I would talk about how the sort of DA perceive these things, and I think so. People often understand, but they can't quite work it out because hang on a second, you've got Helen Ziller and Natasha saying no, we don't support Cape independence, and then they're fixing the referendum legislation, and then that, and actually there's kind of these sort of mixed messages. And what you have to think of is the DA is an organisation that is and I'm not a legal scholar, but they tell me the DA are legal positivists, which means the DA's frame of reference is what is written in the law. So if the Constitution says that you must dress in 3 yellow armbands and wear a blue cap, then the DA wants to dress in 3 yellow armbands and wear a blue cap, and that's their frame of reference. And the alternative to positive law is what's called natural law, which is actually where people say, well, look, it doesn't really matter what's written on a piece of paper. The law is just a piece of paper that reflects what people think. So let's worry about what people think and what people want, and the law will follow on. So the DA on independence and on these matters in general, not just independence, but on the police and all the things they say they want, are in a box of their own making. You know, so they want it. You know, we know they want provincial autonomy. It's in their manifesto. Alan Winde wants it. You know, they've come out and they said Musi Maimani wanted it. Even in his era, they wanted provincial autonomy. But they say they want control of the police, and they say they want control of the railways, and they say they want to sort out EWC, and they say they want to have all of these things. But their frame of reference is, but hang on a second. In the Constitution, it says, in this piece of paper, it says, so they're in this box, and the DA is a political party that struggles to think outside of that box. And actually don't realize in many cases that they're making the box. They're trapping themselves in that box because the Western Cape people and their own voters want them to go far further than, you know, and I think that, you know, I made a note over, you know, that if I have to sum up, the DA is how do we do it almost comes before what do we want. Where actually other people and people like ourselves is we start off with, well, what do we want, and then later then, well, how are we going to do that? And that comes down to what this discussion about creating the political reality on the ground. In other words, the people of the Western Cape have to get out, decide what they want, stand up for what they want, and put pressure on the political parties to make it happen. And that's what we're seeing happening now. And we're seeing it not just through the independence movement. You know, we've seen now that this movement has really blossomed. And it's caused great pressure onto the DA. It's people are saying, you know, actually, there are a lot of people in the independence movement who strongly disagree with the DA. A lot of the hardliners are anti-DA. We certainly aren't as an organisation, and the majority of independent supporters aren't. But there are people that are anti-DA. So, and it's interesting to see on our social media, this is just an election ploy by the DA. They're only doing this because it's an election year. Absolutely, they're only doing this because it's an election year. What do they think political parties do? You know, when do they think that the independence movement? When do they think that lobby groups like ourselves have the most leverage? We absolutely have gone out of our way to make Cape independence an election issue, and the DA and the independence movement fundamentally understand each other. That actually, 2/3 of independent supporters vote DA, and 53% of DA voters in the Western Cape want Cape independence. It's the same group of people. And that's manna from heaven for a political lobby group like ourselves who understand it's the same people. The DA cannot afford for independent supporters to have to choose between independence and the DA. And therefore, the DA has to find positions that allows them. And that's what starts to drag the narrative. And so you've got the independence group on one hand, and the other big issue that people are starting to realize, and the DA is starting to realize, is particularly we're starting to see a rise in coloured nationalism. We've seen it with the Cape Coloured Congress taking 20% of the vote in Delft. We've seen the Patriotic Alliance absolutely wiping the DA out in a province in a by-election in Gauteng, another by-election in Knysna, and this is, you know, so now obviously there's pressure on them from that side too, and that pressure is significant because the DA is frustrated. They understand the issues that are particularly faced by coloured people around affirmative action and so on. But they can't necessarily address them because in their little box of thinking, it's like, well, look, we know you've got a problem. We know affirmative action is really unfair. We know the Constitutional Court has addressed this issue and said it's unfair, but we've got the Constitution and we'd like to help you, but we can't. But I mean, for how long do coloured people, after 3 straight terms of DA governance, say, well, listen, look, you know what, okay, we'll put up with being racially discriminated against on a massive scale because we understand that you'd like to help us, but you just can't. There comes a point in time where people say, well, look, you know what, if you can't help us, somebody else will. And that is the change of that. That's what we're seeing now. The DA now is in its 3rd term as the provincial government of the Western Cape. Doesn't matter how much it would like to fix stuff, but can't because the ANC won't let it. We don't want a government who would like to fix stuff. We want a government who will fix stuff. And what we've got to know, and this is from me as someone who is a traditional DA voter, what we want to know is, and that's what this is all about, is when are you going to stand up and do something? We actually want you to fix these issues, not talk about it, not tell us all the reasons why you can't do it. We want you to fix it. And what we're seeing now is the emergence of a DA that's now got its back against the wall and suddenly realizing that the reasons why they can't do stuff is not going to cut the mustard anymore. They're now drinking in the last chance saloon, and they have to find a way of moving forward. And this is the first hurdle that addresses that. And we've now got this alignment between the DA, the Freedom Front, the Cape Party, to some extent the Cape Coloured Congress, ourselves, Cape Exit, Afri Forum, and that says, look, you know what, we might disagree on exactly where the lines fall, but we all now absolutely agree that we can't put up with this ANC government 1 second longer, and we have to take control of these issues in the Western Cape, and we have to be much more brave and brash in doing so, and making excuses isn't going to cut the mustard.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was your real moment. This is your second reminder to please subscribe to my channel. Please like and comment below. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this content, please share it with friends and family. Also, check out the Joe Emilio Show Telegram channel. It's a channel, not a group, so you won't be bombarded by weird memes and information. It's really just a notification channel for you to be notified of all my upcoming uploads and live streams. Link is in the description. You can also watch more of my content here or here, somewhere in this general area. Just check it out. You might like it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.